One of the hardest things to do in life is to kind of make the call between whether or not you're going after something that is meaningful and has a real chance of working, or whether you're chasing a rainbow that's just never going to be able to be caught. I think that for most of us, hope is kind of a double-edged sword. We have ideas about what it is that we want to get out of our lives. What do we want to do to, earn a living and acquire the things in our lives that we want and get the experiences that we want and all of those kinds of things. And for many of us who have that really strong desire to kind of do our own thing, we don't want to be an employee. We don't want to have a boss telling us what to do every day. We kind of want to determine our own fate as much as we can. It can be really difficult to give up on a dream and accept the idea that you might have to go back to doing things you really hate doing. And so we look around for things that are going to encourage us to keep trying, keep going, keep pushing on. And one of the bigger options that you'll hear out there is something to the effect of, well, don't give up because you might just be right. Like most people give up right before they reach their goal. And, tomorrow might be the day that you make it, or any number of different kinds of pieces of advice like that try to encourage you to just keep going a little longer because you might make it. And that's good advice, sort of, if, it's coming from the right place, and theoretically it is correct, but the reality is that most people going after most things are not going to find success in what it is that they're doing. I think most of the people that you've heard who have become successful, they kept pushing and trying in general, but they didn't stay with one thing any longer than it took to realize that it was a dead end. And I say that because, you could put years and years and years of your life into something and it never really goes anywhere because it was just never meant to happen. Not necessarily because, there's any kind of predeterminism or God or any of that stuff. The conditions just weren't there to allow whatever it was you were trying to do to actually become successful. Maybe you aren't the person to be doing whatever it is that you're trying to do. Or maybe you're good at what you do, but the thing you need just isn't in demand right now and it just never had a chance of taking off. Or, especially in the case of like YouTube, what I'm doing here, maybe you just don't have the kind of personality that's required to be able to get online and convince a bunch of people to actually watch you for any length of time. It's really hard to, have an idea for what you want for your life, but not really have a clear plan on how to get there. And that's pretty much everybody. I think, there are some people who have a solid plan and a solid goal and they just tenaciously go after it and it somehow works out for them. I personally believe that, yes, the hard work and dedication that people put into those kinds of things are absolutely massive determining factors, sure. But at the same time, there had to be a certain amount of luck that went into them going from trying to go after something to actually making it. Now, is that luck that in that, certain opportunities came up at the right time to make the thing work for them? That's one version of luck. The other version of luck is they happen to be born into a family that provides them with access to a greater number of opportunities. But that's still luck. You happening to be born into a wealthy family is still luck, if you think about it. So, what am I here today to talk about? I think that hope is one of those things that's a double-edged sword for almost everybody. You kind of have to have it because if you don't, you might as well just, there's certain things what's the point in continuing at all? Like, you have to have some kind of hope for the future to continue getting up every day to try to do something. To go on living, you have to have some kind of hope, at least a little bit. But at the same time, hope that is not constrained by some kind of a sense of reality is going to cause you to spend a significant portion of your life chasing after things that never had a chance of working in the first place. And I know people don't really want to hear negative points of view like that, but, sometimes you just have to have somebody give you a reality check. There are millions of people out here doing YouTube and trying to make something out of it. I count myself as one of them. But I'm also realistic enough to know that there will come a point where if my channels aren't growing to a point that's going to allow me to actually make a go of this, I have to make a call, At some point, I have to decide that, this YouTube thing is just, it's not the thing that's going to be for me. I'm going to have to find something else and try to figure out something else to do. Does that mean I'm giving up? Not yet. we're in the summer slump right now, so obviously making any decisions based off of things that are happening during this time of the year is just not really it's not a very good way of making decisions, because you're using the worst of the data to decide whether anything's going to happen. It's good to know, but you know, maybe towards the end of next winter, after the next busy season for YouTube, I could start making some decisions about whether or not this is something that's worth continuing to pursue. I've already been doing it for a few years now, more or less full time, and you know, it's not growing as fast as I would like it to, but you know, you have to have a little bit of realism when it comes to this stuff. It's nice to think that, oh man, I just need to have one video to go viral so that a bunch of people see my content and then they're going to want to watch me. It's like, yeah, but viral videos don't work the same way as they used to, right? Like, you might get a viral video, but there's a lot more people out there, and there's a lot bigger creators out there. Your one viral video as a small content creator does not a channel make. You know what I mean? So I'm using myself as an example, you know. I hope that this thing turns into something, not because I have any interest in being famous or well known. I just want to find some kind of success that's on my terms. And that's kind of what I'm going for. And I think a lot of people really want that. They're not, like, we're not lazy. We're just tired of working for other people. We're tired of helping other people with their dreams and never really getting ahead with our own. Like, I want to do something that advances my goals in my life rather than, you know, helping some company advance theirs. And I think most of you out there who are trying to go and do something for yourself feel the same way. It's not that you don't want to work. You just want to do your thing. You want to do your thing. You want to do the thing that's important to you. You want to find success on your own terms. And there's nothing wrong with that. And as far as the don't give up, the success might be around the corner for you. I think that on the grand scale of just continuing to try to go after things that could provide you with that kind of, you know, that kind of living for yourself on your own terms, I think you should absolutely continue doing that. Applying that too far down the hierarchy when it comes to the specific thing that you're doing now might not be the best way to go. There has to be some analysis that happens where you say, okay, am I even really making any progress on this? Or is the progress that I'm making sufficient enough that I'm going to be making enough money to, you know, sustain myself over the next however many years that I'm trying to do this thing? Or is it growing so slowly that it's going to take me 20 years, even if I'm able to sustain this rate of growth? You know what I'm saying? It's like, there has to be a little bit of a reality check. So anytime somebody comes to you and says, oh, well, you can't give up, success might be right around the corner. It's technically true, but at the same time, you have to be real with yourself and say, is this actually the thing that's going to be what brings me to success, or am I just chasing a rainbow right now? And you got to be honest with yourself when you do that. There's nothing wrong with admitting that, you know, whatever it is that you're doing isn't going to work out. And it's better in the long run for you to recognize that as early as possible and pivot to something else than it is to keep pushing something that probably never had any chance of working in the first place. You have to have an honest conversation with yourself, and you have to have an honest conversation, preferably with other people who have a more objective viewpoint, who can help you figure out whether it's something that's actually going to make it or not. And that's a hard conversation to have, but you kind of need to do it. So, you know, for myself, I'm going to keep doing this YouTube thing because so far no other opportunities have surfaced for me, and I'm just kind of grinding on the only thing I kind of have left, and that's why I'm continuing to sit here and do YouTube. I'm kind of stuck in this right now. But eventually, if a better opportunity comes along and it's clearly a more advantageous situation for me with a much higher likelihood of it actually working out than this whole YouTube thing, well, then you got to make a choice at that point, right? So I would say keep an eye out for other opportunities. Don't get so fixated on whatever it is that you're doing right now that you ignore other doors that may be opening for you. This might just be the thing you're doing now to try to keep yourself going. But be ready to pivot if you need to. So that's all I wanted to say. This video is not intended to get you to lose hope. It's to motivate you to keep trying to do your own thing, but don't be stupid about it. Keep doing your own thing. Keep trying to push to do your own thing. Success is right around the corner once you find the thing it is that you're supposed to be doing. But until then, be realistic. So again, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers, and I'll see you for the next one.